Alright guys, it's Sunday evening. I've only got about a week left before I have to go to work on my customer's truck, so I'm pretty much, I don't think I'm going to make it. I got too much to do still yet, but I did have a lot of the car mocked up, but there was still stuff I needed to get mocked up and needed it done, before paint went on. Transmission coolant lines is one of them, and this is the second full day already on these things. It has sucked. I'm almost done. A little bit more work and I'll be done with them. But I thought I'd just do a video and show you what I got going on. If I'd had the money to go get some, like some braided flex hoses, I would have did that. It'd have been a hell of a lot easier. I ended up using steel line. I had about 5 or 6 sticks of this here, so I just, I already had it here, so I just used it. I kind of did it like an OEM, modern car, where it's really close to the oil pan and kind of out of the way, and that's out of sight. I did bend them both exactly the same, and they're stacked basically. I put my header back on a while ago with a couple of bolts, and I took the bolts out of the starter, and I can actually pull the starter out this way and drop it down. So if I ever have to get to do something, have to replace a starter or get to it or whatever, I can get it out of there. Trying to cover all my bases so I don't lock myself up in a corner on something, but anyway, I'll try to get to it here. Now I've used these clamps here for, I don't know, 10, 12 years maybe. I got a big bag of these at a swap meet about 10 or 12 years ago, and I have used the crap out of them for transmission coolant lines. They separate them so they don't rattle on each other. They have a little hole in the middle so you can build you a piece of strap or a bracket basically to screw it to. These are really neat. They do sell these in Summit. I did see them one time on there. I need to go ahead and order some more. This is the last 3 I have, and it's basically all I needed for this car. But I've used these a bunch. Anyway, you get them in between the lines like that, and they snap in. That's that simple. It's the exact diameter, 8 millimeter is the metal line, but I got quite a bit of space under there, almost finger width from the bottom of the starter. I did build a bracket to go off a stud on the oil pan, and I have another one of them little clips right there. So I built a little bracket out of just some strap, and I bent it in a lazy S. I drilled and tapped the bottom for an 832 Allen button head, and I am out. I'm going to go early in the morning when I get up to Lowe's and get a package of them. Anyway, this will go behind and go up on the stud on the oil pan, and then that little button head Allen will go in there and bolt to that bracket. And I'll paint the brackets black so they'll hide, but it gets it snugged up out of the way. I can still get my starter out if I need to, and they're not gonna rub on anything. I did have to bend 45s, to get up over this frame cradle up here. I built another bracket up here, and I got it drilled and tapped for an 832, so that one will be right there. This was a piece of angle, and I cut I don't know, maybe 2/3 of one side off, and drilled 2 holes in the bottom, and then I drilled and tapped the frame. And I actually had to bend that piece of angle a little bit more because of the angle of the frame, but I had to space it off there because this sticks out further than down there, so I had to use 2 little stainless steel spacers, and I used some 1032 Allen buttons in the frame. I drilled some speed holes and beveled them. I also done that bracket, just a couple of them. But these will be painted black, and the frame will be black, so they'll kind of go away, after everything's put together and they're painted black. Anyway, I'm doing dual tranny coolers. I'm using the one that come in the radiator, and I'm using a tube style. I've only got 2 fittings, so I had to use these in the radiator when I mocked these up, and then I had to pull them out and put in that for mock-up down here. Both parts stores I went to this morning did not have those fittings, so I'll have to go to my local Napa in the morning when they open and get those. I just have these, kind of This is just like a temperature sender in there just to kind of hold it in there. It's kind of janky, but it works. I still have to bend to 90 in this, cut it and flare it. And I'm going to have to put a little piece of, I'm going to have to cut a notch this way on the bottom of this. And I'm going to cut a piece of round tubing in half, and I'm going to weld it in there. So it'll be like basically a tunnel for that to go through, but open on the bottom, you know, because this is just, it's not going up high enough for that. But anyway, so that's pretty much it for the tranny lines. I still need to flare these ends, but anyway, I need to bend and flare that one. I may go ahead and bend another small one here. This is the one that it comes around and it goes to the bottom of the cooler. It sticks out a little further. I'd kind of like to have a little bit closer to this one, so I may go ahead and bend another one since I have another stick here. But anyway, that's the transmission coolant line setup. 2 days worth, actually. It's just been a pain in the butt to do. I'm happy with them now. They should work pretty good. I do have square nuts welded in the frame horns, and I have this bar bolted to it. This is a tube style cooler, of course. I have never used one of these. I've always used the old school square ones, you know, that go to the radiator. So this is the first for me, and to me they just don't look like they'd cool as good as the old school ones, but they do look neater. So I went ahead and I'm going to use it in conjunction with the radiator, and just to be a little bit added safety for me. I usually use the same stuff every time I build a car, so this is a first for me. So anyway, I bought chrome smoothie bumpers for the car. They're chrome plated, but they're smoothie. They don't have any guards or bumper bolts. And I bolted it on the front of the car. And if you've ever noticed the side profile of a 55 Chevy, the bottom of the front bumper is higher off the ground than the front corner of the rocker. So what I did was I took an old original bumper, and I cut a, I don't know, like a 2.5 or 2 3/4 wide strip down all the way down the center. And then I cut it in pieces, and I put it back together to make it narrower. And I built brackets, and it mounts behind the chrome smoothie bumper, but comes down from behind it. So it basically will look like an air dam. I'm going to paint it matte black, and it'll kind of take up a little bit more space, so the car will look up a little bit lower to the ground. I also took, just so this is not hanging out there underneath the bumper, I cut a rectangle out. That's the main reason for the air dam, is this. Because if I didn't build the air dam, you'd be able to see all this under there, and it just looked kind of goofy. So anyway, I cut a rectangle out of the middle of that air dam I made, and I plated in all 4 sides so it looks like a mail slot. And when you stand back from the front of the car, you see the cooler through there. So it'll get air to it, and it'll actually look really cool. I was going to paint this black, but I think I've decided just to leave it like it is, because I'm going to be cleaning it all the time, getting the old bug guts off of it. The bugs are going to be, they'll be cooked to that thing because this will be pretty warm. So anyway, this is my mess on the transmission coolant lines, but I've just about got it whooped. A couple more hours and I'll be done. I am completely running out of time trying to finish up this small stuff like this, but I'm spending way too much time on it. I didn't really need to put speed holes in all these brackets around all the corners and all that crap, but I wanted the car to be pretty nice. I didn't want it to just look like it was kind of thrown together. So anyway, I'm going to get back at it, guys.